Shelgon is mostly one of the most interesting updates of the season, with Twister. Twister is overpowered. Twister is one of the strongest dragon type, like honestly currently must say the strongest dragon type move in the game, which is so hilarious because it has been in the game since the beginning, because I still remember being annoyed when my Gyarados had Twister, because back in the day you didn't even have the option to change movesets on Pokemon, and so you were stuck with that, and then you had to delete your Pokemon if you don't want the moveset, which was the good old days of Pokemon. But now Twister, after 10 years, all of a sudden is one of the best moves in the game. And I will show you today why and how, because Shelgon is a prime example on why this move is so strong. You get there after 10 turns, which is quite fast, and by far the fastest current dragon type move in the game as far as I know, and it does so much damage. It does just so insane amount of damage. It's 70 damage, which is very strong for a 40 energy move. Like you have, I think, Aqua Jet, which does the same. I think there are a few more Psyshock, I think, as well. But a lot of dragon types have very solid attack and are very strong just generally. And yeah, I do have to say that Shelgon is definitely worth an investment. I played against it before. I didn't enjoy playing against it. I played with it. I do think that the non-Shadow is better than the Shadow. I still want to try out the Shadow because it looks cooler on the thumbnail, so shout out to that. But I do think that's going to be an interesting update, and I do think you're going to see quite a lot more of the Twister users. You have also alternatively Gyarados, which I want to take a look at as well, because you can now run Waterfall Twister Gyarados with Aqua Tail, and I think that might be the better version of this Pokemon. I actually want to check on the side. But there are a few more Twister users like Flygon, like Garchomp, but I feel like this one, the Shelgon, is definitely the most outstanding one at least. But yeah, Gyarados definitely also now wants to run Twister over Crunch, which kind of showcases already what this move can do. Like honestly, this move is absolutely fantastic. It's super strong, it's fast to get to, it's great coverage. Of course, like Dragon only hits Dragon, but it's very nice neutrally against nearly everything. Dragon Breath is, by the way, still recommended on the Gyarados for good reason as well. Looks to be quite a bit better than the other move, because you're just going to be faster. So yeah, never mind, you don't want Waterfall on the Gyarados, even though it's stab, and it got buffed as well. If you haven't seen my video earlier, I took a look at the Empoleon, and this is kind of where we take a look at our team, because if I would have wanted to build this team perfect, then I would have went for Empoleon in the lead instead of the Jellicent, because I would not have that issue then against the Wigglytuff. That's the main reason why you would want to run Empoleon. But because I've been playing Empoleon so many times in the last few videos, like even before the season ended, I just kind of wanted to have something different, and I went with the number 1 Pokemon on PvPoke, which is Jellicent. Very strong Pokemon, good alternative option, has just the weakness that Dragon plus Jellicent is weak to, yeah, any kind of Wigglytuff. So that is not ideal. Here I can catch the move, which of course is going to be still the Shadow Ball. There's no way that they're going to go for anything else. But I needed to kind of keep alive here my Shelgon, but I'm not too sure if we're going to be able to beat 3 Pokemon with this Pokemon here. Let's see. Shelgon is trying to... that's not going to get there in time. If I got there in time, maybe I would have been fine. Maybe even the Twister would have done enough damage with the stab bonus on top of it. I don't know. I doubt it. But yeah, let's move on to the next opponent. The one benefit about Jellicent as well is that it's actually very good against Empoleon. It's one of the harder answers against Empoleon because you resist the fast move and they're forced to go for a Drill Peck, which is a non-stab move. But it's also very common that they want to swap and catch the move, and here in this case they're going to do it on the Wigglytuff, and honestly, I am not too sad about that because we still have the Florges. And now we're going to take a look at Florges with disarming voice. No Trailblaze anymore? Why that? If you take a look at PvPoke, what is recommended for Florges, and Florges is really high up now in the ranking, is disarming voice. And I wanted to take a look at why this is going the case here right now. And disarming voice is actually really cool. It's just very nice neutrally. It's just in any kind of scenario where you're like, okay, I would like to have a little bit more damage than what the Chilling Water or the Trailblaze would have provided. You can just go for disarming voice and you do that little bit more damage. It's not the strongest move in the game by any means, but it's currently most likely in a better niche because the targets for the move Trailblaze are kind of gone. Like, you don't have the Gastron anime, which was mainly the Pokemon where you want to go for it. Against other ground types, you can even still go for the Chilling Water. Against the fire types, because you also still have Chilling Water, you wouldn't went for Trailblaze anyway. But Trailblaze only really was good against, of course, Rock and Ground, which, funnily enough as well, you're going to be able to cover up with the other coverage, with the Water type coverage of this Pokemon. So it's kind of nice to have a stab move, and Moonblast would be an alternative option as well. Okay, we saw already a few twisters land on this video. Like, we just going to appreciate later on as well on how much damage this actually does. We are running here, of course, the Shadow version of the Shelgon just for the extra bit of damage of this move. Bone Club is coming through here. We're going to be able to go for the Surf against the opponent. This is going to allow us to get that damage onto them, get the shield from the opponent actually first, and we can go for our own shield. Jellicent, such a good Pokemon, but actually here against Marowak is going to be nerfed. Of course, this matchup is going to be a bit better for us. But here, we're going to go up against the Credilli, and I will just utilize this as an opportunity to get damage and shields. Because what I can do is I can just go for 2 Shadow Balls. I am fine against Marowak with my backlight. It's just going to be neutral. And I do rather have my, Jellicent here against the Credilli than anything else. And what I can do now is I can utilize this opportunity to take advantage basically of the scenario with our Shelgon. Shadow Shelgon is going to be able to just use the shield. Of course, a Rock Tomb would do a lot of damage, but we can get a ton of energy, and we have 2 twisters basically stored. We had -1 attack, so ideally we would want to try to clear our debuff, but as you see, they're going to go ahead and go into the Talonflame, which means we are going to be able to knock them out, but they're going to swap out here now into the Marowak. We are going to be able to go for the big Twister. Twister is going to be able to take them really, really low. Should have stayed in just to try to get the sweep in with the Shelgon, but now at the end, Florges is going to be able to take down 2 of the opponent's Pokemon, and we win the battle. I should have just stayed in. I just didn't play it. Yeah, I want to play it safe, of course, at the end to win the battle, but I could have even played funnier. Okay. Drapion is a bit of a problem, right? Like, Drapion is a bit of a problem. We're going to have our lead, which is going to be weak to the crunch. We're going to have our Sacer, which is going to be weak to the, poison type fast move damage, I guess. You don't really have such form usually. And then we're going to have here as our last Pokemon, the Shelgon. And Shelgon is, neutral, but like Shelgon is not really the bulkiest Pokemon, especially the Shadow version that we have here. And in that kind of case, they do quite a lot of damage. But what you see here is that actually we are still getting a shield advantage with our Florges. And again, if you have a bit of an advantage with your Shelgon, you're kinda in a very good spot. By the way, you see every battle I did with this team. In comes here the opponent's Jellicent. And yeah, we can swap out. We can go for the Shadow Ball even against them, which is now going to be great because what we can do is we can get some damage onto them. I can go for a shield here against the opponent's Shadow Ball. Most likely the best play. We don't know what they have in the back yet, and it is going to be more Pekko. That's going to be a bit more tougher, but I can go for the Surf before they can go for the Aura Wheel. Aura Wheel would do, of course, one-shot us, but the Surf is going to get the shield from them. And this is actually what I wanted to see, because I'm not too sure on how much Surf actually going to do, but I know the Twister with the damage boost on this Pokemon with a Shadow bonus onto my Shelgon is very likely going to be enough to knock them. But as you see as well, they go for the charge move straight away. I didn't know that I had my charge move stored at this point, that's why I didn't go straight away for my own. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to be able to reach the Twister, knock them out here with this big hit. And yeah, the opponent's kind of now at the point where they're going to lose. Like, Twister is just like such a strong move. Like, honestly, it's crazy. We're going to have here Jellicent against Jellicent. How do I play this one out? I usually go for the bait. I just go for the Surf. If they call it, fine. But like, this is the thing. Like, either they call it or they're gonna get... Oh, okay, they swap out into the Licky. That's also fine. We're just gonna get them lower. But here, for example, against Licky, neutral Twister. This is going to be just a very cheap move to get to, but it does half of the opponent's damage, health there, and I can just go for the full farm down. So we're going to be in a very good position for ourselves, at least. The Shadow Ball is coming in, and we will see the Jellicent coming back. And again, another Twister is going to be launched from our Shelgon here, doing so much damage against the Jellicent. Like, literally can 2-shot basically all the bulky Pokemon off the meta right now, which is hilarious. Flamethrower is going to give you great coverage against the steel types that you usually struggle against. So the Pokemon itself is honestly very, very good. Here, though, I have to kind of play around a little bit, as the opponent had too much energy, and I kind of want to keep my Jellicent alive. We see here the opponent's Primeape. And because I didn't want to give them enough farm, and I know they still survive this, I'm actually not going to go straight. I let them go for 2 more fast moves before I go for my own charge move, ensuring that they're going to knock me out with the next fast move, so they get less energy, which may be going to win us this battle. We have to see. As they gotta go for a charge move here, it's going to be, of course, that Rage Fist, boosting themselves up, but we can go for the Surf, which is going to be forcing them to use a shield again. This is going to be fine, as now we are going to try our best to go for another move here, and they sub out a tiny bit too early, which now allows us to just go for the full farm down and win that battle. So good game to the opponent. The Shadow Ball is going to be able to knock them out, and we can move on to the next one, where we will going to have here the Primeape against an Elite. This is going to be a matchup where you have the chance of winning it, but it's a bit awkward because of the boost that they have. Because you see already the first rage just comes through, the second one most likely going to knock us out. They swap out into a third onto our charge move. It's like, no. Like, this is going to be so tough now, because now the third is going to be able to take a Shadow Ball, and it's up energy as well against the Florges, which is kind of unfortunate because Florges has the same pacing as the opponent, so it's all a little bit off. Here, the Chilling Water comes through, is going to drop the opponent's attack here for a little bit, and of course I can overfarm by now a tiny bit afterwards as well, but at the end of the day, there's a limited amount on how much I can really overfarm. I do the maximum amount here without knowing who wins the MP type. I assume it's Florges, but I don't really know, so I didn't really want to risk it. And I use a shield anyway, so it doesn't really matter, as we can now, let the move go. We still should be able to survive this one. The Swift is coming in, and in comes as well now the Primeape. Do they expect this move, the disarming voice? Nope, they don't, and with that, this game is nearly over, as we're going to have, the Stunfisk coming in against our Shelgon. This is going to be game, as we are going to be able to take, basically any kind of hit here quite easily on our Shelgon. The Mud Bomb actually does more than expected, but we're going to have now the Twisters, and Twisters is going to be perfect, as this is going to allow us to do so much damage. Twister itself is such a broken move to have right now. It is a mad, as we have here the Discharge coming in, we share this move up, and yeah, another charge move is going to come through here. Another, Twister's coming in, getting the shield from the opponent. In comes the Florges. We can try to go ahead and go for another charge move here as well. And the water type move here, the Ching Water, is going to connect here. The community move is going to knock them out, as they're going to try their best to still somehow win. As the Stunfisk is coming in here, they're going to, of course, lose here at this point, as we're going to have 2 power Pokemon, and they have 1 HP on 1 Pokemon. Okay, second last battle, we're going to have Empoleon against us. And in comes the Corviknight. How do you play this matchup? You just go for a charge move. That's it. Like, you just go for a charge move. It doesn't really matter. As we're going to now be able to swap out into the Florges, we can take the hits a bit better. They have, if you think about it, most of the times flying type damage as well as dark type damage as a charge moveset. And here, dark moveset is of course going to be resisted by Florges. So we're just better off swapping. Of course, you kind of need to have a little bit of damage first from your lead from the Jellicent in order to get them into the position. But here, the attack is going to drop. We are going to be able to let the move go. Yeah, I actually got kind of unlucky with Corviknight that against me. They all kind of boosted instantly, like so many times. So I was kind of mad. But here we're going to still be able to knock them out with a Chilling Water. We have no alignment, which is kind of nice, because they're going to go into the Empoleon. And I'd rather have Empoleon against my Jellicent than against my Shelgon. And let's see what they're going to fight, like have here in the back. Hopefully it's not going to be a fairy type Pokemon, because Shelgon needs something to cover up as well. It's going to be the Morgrem. And that's going to be it. Morgrem is, of course, here we should win for Surf. It doesn't really matter, because I would have never been able to go for another move anyway. But I'm going to be forced to go for another charge move here with our Shelgon. It's going to be here the Flamethrower that we have to land against them. And so I'm going to bait first, because I do actually a lot of force move damage with their Sucker Punch against us. We don't have a lot of bulk on our Shelgon. We're going to have the Twister getting the shield, and now I have to just hit the Flamethrower, but they still have another Pokemon left. We also have to hit that Flamethrower. The Foul Play is coming in. In comes here the opponent's Empoleon. I'm going to try to catch the move here. It does not work out. But generally speaking, it's kind of good that I still have the energy on my other Pokemon, because otherwise I have no chance. Drillbait comes in, and I was not thinking that the Flamethrower is going to be enough here to knock out the opponent's Empoleon, but it is actually going to be enough, and we're just barely going to miss out on getting to another Flamethrower for the Morgrem. Would be questionable though if we would have been able to knock them out. As we go move on now to the final battle here. I actually had to just do it just before the recording started, kind of know it. Still, because I didn't have enough battles now, for whatever reason. I always thought I had like an extra set already done with this team, but I only did like a total of 10 battles, I think. This is of course here going to be a battle where we are going to be able to win quite easily. Or are we? Because I don't think it was actually going to be that easy. We have the hardest answer in the lead, but what we have as well is now an advantage. And this is the advantage I want to have. I have shield advantage and I got them super low. This is perfect, because what we have is Florges, which can now take a bit of an energy lead, which is absolutely amazing, as now this is coming through, the Sludge is coming in, and we're going to be able to now go for a Chilling Water, dropping the opponent's attack a little bit, and then swap onto the Shelgon, which resists the fast move of the Volt Switch. And so we're in not the worst position here. We can take a hit from the opponent as well, as they're debuffed as well right now anyway. And this Rock Tomb is going to allow us just to now still get to another charge with the Flamethrowers coming in. This is going to knock them out if they're going to let the move go, which of course they're going to shield up the move here, because otherwise a Fortress Scope would be already gone. But here, we're going to be able to shield up their move as well. It is going to be a Rock Tomb, and we're going to try our best to go for another charge move here as a stop out into the Jellicent. I am going to have like 2 Twisters here, which is fine, but I'm going to try to go for the Disarming Voice, which just makes way more sense. And this is working out quite well, especially because it does quite more damage than I expected. And it must be like kind of a bad IV Jellicent, because this damage is kind of insane from, yeah, and then this kind of move. But as you're going to see, we're going to get farmed down, which doesn't really matter because you're going to have the Twister still anyway. Twister is coming through, is going to allow us to get some nice damage in, knock them out. In the back here, we're going to be able to go for a Flamethrower this time around, which is going to allow us to get the KO as well. And that's going to be it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.